I'm going to share with you the good points, the bad points, and hopefully answer most of the questions that you have. The size was always a major feature of the original Go camera and the Go 2, but what let the Go 2 down was the battery life. The battery with the Go 3 lasts up to 45 minutes shooting in 1080, and there are more details on that battery and overheating test coming up. The biggest update with the Go 3 is this action pod. Now when I first saw this, I thought to myself, why do I need a screen on this camera? The lens is super wide and it captures everything, so I don't need to frame it up. However, I must say I was wrong. This screen and the action pod design is a game changer for this camera. Firstly, with the camera mounted in the action pod, it's pretty much like a GoPro. You have a more robust body, the classic GoPro shape with a record button on top and a screen on the back. And it's touchscreen and it's super smooth and you can see it easily outside. And the menu system on this for general shooting is really clear. And if you've had an action camera before, you'll find the layout and the way you navigate around the screen quite familiar. There's also a quick menu system button on the outside of the action pod, and this will allow you to access your favorite presets as well as other camera settings. The action pod is mounted using the included swivel mount, and the camera snaps into it magnetically and then adds the added security of a clip top and bottom. And the camera itself has been redesigned with the same integrated slot, so you can easily switch the mount from the action pod to the camera. When mounted in the action pod, you can use the screen to frame up your shots, and you can also flip it up and then use it to frame yourself in the shot as well. And this is particularly useful for vlogging on this. I know that sounds insane, but the audio quality from this tiny camera is actually quite impressive. The Go 3 has two microphones, one on top of the camera and one just underneath the lens. And the audio that you can hear now is all from the Go 3, and the Go 3 is set to stereo mode. The action pod acts as a power bank. It's 1270 milliamp hour and the camera itself is 310 milliamp hour. So in theory you should be able to charge it 3 or maybe 4 times depending on whether you're using the action pod at the same time. Recording in 1080, the spec says you can record up to 173 minutes with the camera in the action pod. But when I tested this, I managed to only shoot for 120 minutes with the camera in the action pod before the camera battery and the action pod battery died. The most important thing here though is that the camera did not overheat whilst it was filming in the action pod. And a lot of this is down to the fact that the camera and the action pod both have a new heat dissipation design. And out of the action pod, the battery life is insane for a camera this small. And I recorded for 44 minutes 51 seconds in 1080 and 41 minutes 22 seconds in 2.7K. This Go 3 is the 64GB version, and with this one I can record a total of 52 minutes of footage in 2.7K or 4 hours 19 minutes in 1080. Where I used the action pod the most was as a Bluetooth remote control. I found this invaluable and it was just so convenient to start and stop recording and check your framing remotely. There's a Bluetooth strength indicator on the screen which is handy, but in my experience you do have to be no more than 2 or 3 meters away in line of sight to the camera for the remote to be reliable. But it is perfect for when it's on your car or on your bike, or when you're mounting it in more adventurous positions and it's in an awkward place to get to. I only have 3 criticisms in the design of this action pod. Firstly, I'd like to have the ability of flipping this screen up, spinning it round and then pushing it back down so that the screen is facing the inside of the camera, which would give it more protection if you're using it in an action scenario. And the biggest flaw is the fact that they don't have a 1/4 inch thread integrated into the body of the action pod. That way you wouldn't have to rely on the included Go 3 mount, and it would free you up to explore other mounts more easily. And also it'd just be really good if the entire thing was waterproof and not just splash proof, and then you could use it in any situations without any worries. Without the remote, if you don't want to or you don't need to use the screen, you can use voice control as well to start and stop the camera. Start recording. And there are 2 main shooting modes that you can choose from. You have video mode, which shoots in the highest resolution of 2.7K with the choice of 3 levels of stabilisation as shown here. In this mode you don't have to use the app or the studio software to export your clips. They're ready to share or use. You also have free frame video mode, and this is like the previous Pro mode on the Go 2. In this mode you can shoot at 50 frames per second, you can apply flow state stabilisation and horizon lock, stock, and you can adjust the aspect ratio without cropping the image. And you can even make small reframes to your images as well. But you have to process it in the app or the studio software, and you are restricted to 1440p. And that's the same as the previous Go 2. So we've been given a higher resolution, but that comes at a cost of having less flexibility. I think for beginners, at times, choosing between these two video options and having to select which level of stabilisation you want could be confusing and also annoying. It would be great just to have one video option that includes all of those features, including the higher resolution, but there's obviously technical reasons why they don't do that. In terms of other recording modes, there's time shift, time lapse, loop recording, star lapse, interval recording, HDR photo, standard photo, timed capture, and slow motion. The timed capture is a really great feature where you can set the time you want the camera to turn on and start recording in whatever mode you want. The slow motion mode records at 120 frames per second, but only in 1080. It's important to make you aware that the action pod itself is only splash proof when the camera is attached. By itself though, the camera is waterproof up to 5 meters. And coming later for the Go 3, there'll be a deep dive case which will take you further underwater. Almost all of the Go 2 accessories are not compatible with the Go 3, which is disappointing. I did manage to use the pet mount though with the new pivot stand. The accessories that come with the Go 3 include this pivot mount, which we've seen a lot in this video. It comes with a sticky mount which can be easily detached, and when detached you can use the pivot mount with any other mount with a 1/4 inch thread, including a selfie stick, and using this mount detached like this combined with another mount is the best way to use it. I do like how robust the new pivot mount is. I mean, it's quite solid and it's made of metal, but I felt that it didn't stick as well because of the added weight compared to the original Go 2 pivot stand. And I just wouldn't feel comfortable putting this on the front of the car. There's also a pendant mount, and this is good for POV shots, and this has also been updated. The cord can now be stored inside the mount, so it makes it a lot more compact and easier just to throw in your pocket without it getting tangled around your keys and everything else. And the camera can also now be connected in 3 strong magnetic positions. And then you've got the easy clip. And this is great for mounting the camera to your cap, your pocket, or a backpack strap. If you've watched this video and you think the Go 3 is for you, then you'll want to watch this complete beginner's guide next. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the Go 3, and I'll see you in the next video.